Southwest Florida may not be a manufacturing mecca, but when it comes to making things, this area can certainly hold its own.
Tonight, WeView's Don Gourmet begins a special series on inventions and inventors in Southwest Florida.
When you talk about inventors and inventions in Southwest Florida, you almost have to start at the Edison home.
And here you can see a model of Edison's first successful bulb.
Thomas Edison made his winter home in Fort Myers, and in addition to the incandescent light bulb, he gave us inventions like the phonograph. There are other inventors whose gadgets have made it into the Edison home: Henry Ford and his Model T, Samuel Morse and his telegraph, George Eastman and the camera. There's another inventor here at the Edison home whom you're not as familiar with, although you're probably quite familiar with some of his inventions. His name is Bernie Cousineau.
Our collection of cylinder phonographs spans the years 1880.
The sound you're hearing comes from a continuous loop tape, which was invented by Bernie Cousineau. The same type of tape is used on every jumbo jet in America for the black box, which provides crucial information in the event of a crash.
I decided to devise something so they could just thread it once and it would rewind itself into place. And this was my first invention for a continuous loop. But it was an absolute failure.
So Bernie kept working until he perfected the continuous loop tape. You know it today as the 8-track cartridge.
This Riviera model is the first one built, and this is the granddaddy of the 8-track industry.
This machine right here?
This automatic threading, the first automatic cartridge.
So this is the very first one?
Right.
Chuck Mullen is also a local inventor, whose invention is more famous than his name. He developed the Whiz Grid.
Basically, the Whiz Grid cooks from both sides simultaneously, as opposed to having to turn it over in a fry pan. And when you close it, it acts pretty much like a pants press.
Believe it or not, this simple hamburger griddle earned Mullen more than $300,000. Both Mullen and Cousineau made their fortunes with inventions. But there are dozens of people in Southwest Florida right now who are still waiting to make their fortunes in the inventing game. Don Gourmet, Channel 26, WeView News.
Tomorrow, Don meets with local inventors who hope to be the Edisons and the Fords of the future. Bill?
Jim Brooks is installing what he hopes will be the hottest new craze in home improvement, a door lock that doesn't require a key.
I think it's the most innovative thing in locks, in the history of locks and keys. It's like cutting a key and putting it in your pocket, and you never have to remove it.
Now, there are other keyless locks around, but Brooks says they require you to punch buttons or use a magnetic field like this. A Brooks invention requires only a credit card that stays in your pocket at all times. I don't know how practical it is or if it'll ever sell, but the keyless entry system seems to work pretty well. I'm locked out of the house right now. As soon as I grab the credit card and put it in my back pocket, I'm in. Brooks has applied this credit card technology to unlocking and starting his car as well. Notice, no keys. Mike Mansfield is driven by exercise, but everyone he talked to told him exercise was boring. Video games, however, were not boring. So he combined the two in hopes to sell his invention to a fitness firm.
I'm in fairly good shape, and this is going to wear me out pretty quick. But it's so much fun, I usually laugh out loud. And that's not something people usually do when they're exercising.
Most video games use a joystick. Mansfield's invention uses the human body instead of a joystick. Now, you don't have to be a whiz with electronics to invent something. Southwest Florida's newest soft drink was invented in the kitchen sink. Now, this is 70%.
7% fruit juices, 30% carbonated water.
And the fruit juices is nothing but key lime, or what's in here?
Grape, orange, pineapple, and key lime.
Give it a shot. It's not bad stuff. Not bad at all. Key West Cooler is already on the market in local health food shops. All three of these inventors have been working on their products for up to 5 years and have spent as much as $30,000 apiece. But none of them have seen a profit yet. Don Gourmet, Channel 26, WeView News.
There are a lot of of inventors here in Southwest Florida who think they've come up with a great money-making idea. But in the inventing business, as well as many others, it takes money to make money.
Well, in the final part of this special series on inventors, we've used Don Gourmet's looks at how hard it is to take an idea from the drawing board and actually turn a profit from it.
This inventor has been working on a door lock that doesn't require a key for 5 years now, and he still hasn't sold it. In fact, it's cost him more than $30,000.
It does really get aggravating. Trying to find the financing is one problem, and then trying to invent without financing makes it double tough.
Just to get a patent for a new invention can cost $5,000 or even $10,000. Bernie Cousineau has made a fortune from his inventions, but he is one of the fortunate few. How hard is it, not just to get a patent, but to actually come up with a successful product? How many of those inventors out there? What percentage of it? Is it 5%?
That would make the grade?
Yeah.
Maybe 8%. Maybe, but the others fall by the wayside.
Finding a financial backer seems to be the toughest hurdle facing local inventors. But one successful entrepreneur is trying to do something about that. Chuck Mullen has 14 inventions under his belt.
I've had a little advantage because my background is marketing and advertising. I can get into the top people, but most inventors can't. So I wanted to have a place where we could bring the buyer and the inventor together.
Mullen wants to build an inventor showcase right here in Fort Myers, where would-be Thomas Edisons can display their wares. He's already leased a theater complex on McGregor Boulevard, and he plans to open his shop up to tourists. After all, it's only a block away from the Edison home. He calls it a natural combination. Chuck Mullen and his showcase face the same problem many inventors face, finding an investor to back the project. But if he can, then someday this old theater complex could become Southwest Florida's newest tourist attraction, an inventor showcase. In Fort Myers, Don Gourmet, Channel 26, WEVE News.
The Philharmonic Center for the Arts